Dobar dan svima. Dobrodošli u još jedan webinar koji će biti namenjen master studijama na Univerzitetu Jacobs u Bremenu u Nemačkoj. Nadam se da ste već neke osnovne informacije videli na našem blogu i na našim društvenim mrežama, ali tu je naravno Erin da vam direktno s ovog univerziteta predstavi kakve su sve mogućnosti, koji su to master programi, kakve su školarine, kakve su stipendije i koji su naravno rokovi i uslovi za upis. Ja sam Jelena, jedna od mentorki u VIA akademici i možda smo se već upoznali na nekom našem savjetovanju ili na nekom susretu. Uglavnom, tu sam da u toku ovog webinara prenesem vaša pitanja i da prenesem sve ono što je važno da znate za danas. Uglavnom, Erin će nam reći mnogo detalja i prepuštam njoj reč. Upravo ću sada samo da joj dodelim ulogu hosta, pa će ona moći i da podeli svoju prezentaciju. Hello, Erin.
Hi, thank you for having me today.
Thank you for your time. I'm happy to see you with us. Just a second, I will give you the possibility to share your screen. Can you please try and let me know if this works, or we will try again? Just a second. It may cost. Okay, now I believe you can share your screen and start your presentation.
So you should be able to see my first introductory slide now.
We do, yes.
Great, thank
Sounds
you.
Great.
So I'm Erin Doby. I am a recruitment counselor here at Jacobs University Bremen in Germany. In my role, I support students applying to our master's programs. So just to get started, if you're not familiar with Jacobs University Bremen, we are a private English-speaking campus university, and basically what that means is A, all of our classes are taught in English here, so you do not need any level of German to study with us, and B, as a campus university, we have accommodations on campus, we have dining halls on campus, we have spaces and facilities here for students, so I like to think of it as a bit of a very self-sustained village because everything you need is right here on campus. We are very much well known for not only our excellence in innovation and research, but also our teaching environment. Just to tell you a little bit more about us, Bremen is located in northern Germany. As you can see, we are right in the middle of a number of hubs. So for our students that look towards internship opportunities, there's a lot of flexibility there, but also the opportunities to travel on the weekends. If you are, not someone who has been able to explore much of Germany, you're in a great place to do so, as well as the neighboring countries. So we are a smaller university with 1,571 students on campus this year. However, we're very diverse. We have 124 nationalities represented here on campus, 65 professors, 4 colleges, which are also the dormitories where our students live, and then 199 employees in research and education. And pretty much what that means is that we're able to give students a lot of individual attention with a student-teacher ratio of 16:1. I would say that's even smaller in our graduate programs where things tend to be smaller. However, for the entire campus, this is our student-to-teacher ratio. For students that are a bit curious about, where do we rank? So we're the #1 international private university in Germany. So we just try to put together a few of the rankings because we know that this is something that students do think about as they are selecting a university. So I'm just going to jump right into talking about master's programs because there is a lot to cover, and I'll be happy to take questions afterwards. I'm first going to start by talking about our data engineering program. So this program really combines all the aspects of data analytics as well as data science with all of the technical challenges of data acquisition, curation, management. So this program really paves the way for students that want to go into a career that doesn't just require computer skills, but also mathematical understanding and then practical experience in selected application fields. So this program really attracts students with very diverse career goals, backgrounds, prior work experience. To accommodate this, we offer 4 tracks in the program. So we have computer science, geoinformatics, bioinformatics, business and supply chain engineering. And so these tracks are all in preparation for advanced projects within this discovery area and the master's thesis. As you can see on the slide, we do mention our target audience is someone with a B.Sc or background in computer science, mathematics, engineering, natural sciences, or economics. However, I don't want anybody who is sitting there thinking about this program who maybe doesn't necessarily come from one of those backgrounds to think that that's not an option for you. Because we have students who come from all sorts of backgrounds. And as I talk more about the application process, I'll talk a bit more about students who come from a different background, how they can really tailor their application to show why they would be a good fit for one of these programs. So just as a quick overview, I'll be showing you one of these slides for all the programs that we offer. In the bottom right-hand corner, you can see a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it will actually take you to quite a large handbook where you can look at every single one of the courses that are briefly mentioned here. And then you can read more about, what the requirements are, more about what you learn in that course. What are the outcomes? How do they assess students, whether it's, an exam, papers, things like that. You can find out more information there. So as you can see, we have a core area, elective area, methods, discovery, and career. For the data engineering course, you can go and look through for each semester and see the classes you'd be required to take. Those are marked there with an N. There are also mandatory electives. And basically what that means is you'll have a selection of courses and you'll have to select a certain number. As I mentioned before, with the different tracks, you can see track 1, 2, 3, 4 for computer science, geoinformatics, bioinformatics, business and supply chain engineering. So every student who's in the data engineering program will have the option to select a career track and decide which courses they want to take as they're working through the program. You can also see the methods courses as well. So you can see the requirement is in your first semester to take Intro to Data Management with Python. And then as you work through the program, you'll be able to choose from a selection of courses through the methods course options. Excuse me. And then in your core courses, you can already go and look and see exactly what those courses are going to be. These are going to be courses you're going to be taking with every other data engineering student, so you can get a good idea of what to expect during that time. The final semester is dedicated to a master's thesis. So during that time, that would be the focus of your studies here at Jacobs as you're preparing to transition from your time here onto the next step, whether that be going into the workforce or continuing your studies, possibly, maybe as a PhD student. Our next program is supply chain management. So as I'm sure we all hear more and more in the news today, all about the supply chain. And I often try to, when I talk to students about this program, I really try to focus on what makes our program unique because we would really say it's the strong focus on data analytics and data engineering. So we're admitting students from different disciplines because this program really aligns students' knowledge on SCM in the first semester and kind of builds on it throughout with specialist modules and following semesters. And what I mean by that is that our professors have designed this program so that you don't necessarily have to be someone who studied business, supply chain, logistics as an undergraduate degree in order to excel in this program. It's been built in a way that in that first semester, we really help all students to kind of reach an equal level so that they can kind of work from there. This program is very much application oriented in its nature with the option to receive credit for an internship. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as I show you the all the course modules. And this is really reflected in the modules because it aligns with real world issues. So throughout the program, practitioners from successful companies of various industries are brought in and we collaborate with them for case studies, field trips. So the study program chair really believes in the efficiency of experience-based learning. So our faculty, our lecturers, our tutors, they really use case studies, business games, simulations as active teaching methods. Furthermore, students learn and work successfully in interdisciplinary and intercultural teams. So again, as I mentioned, our target audience is typically an applicant with a B.Sc degree or background in business administration, economics, or engineering. And again, something else that makes our program unique is there really is an emphasis on helping students develop leadership skills, because we really want to prepare students to not just go into the field of supply chain, but also have the option to look towards careers in leadership and management roles. Again, as you can see, our electives under our core are electives in research in discovery, as well as the electives in the math and methods course, and then the career courses. So for the M.Sc degree in supply chain management, in that first semester, all of our students are going to be taking advanced project quality and risk management, SCM and logistics, and big data challenge. And then they'll work through the program on their way. As you can also see, there's some mandatory electives in semester 3 in the core courses. So students would be able to choose from a selection of courses, as well as complete a research project. As you can also see, there are some requirements for programming courses, because as I've said earlier, the goal of this program is really not only to prepare our students for, typical logistics, but also to give them some skills in data analytics and data engineering. And then the program concludes with a master's thesis in semester 4. Our third program is Data Science for Society and Business. So this program is really of interest to students with a background in humanities, as well as natural or technical science, who now want to refocus their careers to begin in data analytics to really focus on some of the questions that are starting to emerge from digitization. So students of this program really benefit from a broad course offering in social data and business sciences, as well as close cooperation with computer sciences and environmental and life sciences. So to further this aim, students can really pick and choose their course offerings from our 3 elective tracks. So we have Society and Business, which really covers computational social science approaches, as well as smart city and transport concepts, principles of consulting, sustainable economics, and supply chain finance. We have our Health and Environmental track, which really connects socially relevant data science questions with insights and techniques from natural sciences. And this includes health, medical, and environmental sciences. And then last but not least, we have our data science track, which is a great option for students with a strong mathematical or computing background who want to dive deep into data mining, data analytics, and machine learning. And the goal of this program is at the end of the 2 years, you are going to be a data science expert with skills in digital contents and data science, as well as the ability to think about how you can solve problems in future organizations and digital societies. Again, like I said, we've mentioned our target audience here, but this program we had our first batch of students on campus this fall, and they'll graduate in spring 2023. And this first batch has been so diverse. In looking at the students that we are admitting right now, people come from such diverse backgrounds, because this really is a great program for somebody who is thinking about, the next step in their career, how they can further it. And there's a lot of options there now, as you all know, in the field of data science. And they're really looking for people who come from very different backgrounds, who want to use what they've already learned in their careers and their studies and think about how we can apply that to data science. A few things I would like to note about this program, looking at kind of from a bird's eye view, looking at all the different courses. So students can choose to receive internship for they can choose to complete an internship and receive course credit for it. As you can see, again, we have our elective areas, our society and business track, advanced data science, environment, and health. Students will be able to choose from a selection of courses there. Our students will also complete a capstone project in the 3rd semester, as well as a master's thesis in their 4th semester. As you can see, the required courses: digital societies and future economies, data science concepts, artificial intelligence in business and society. So there's a lot happening within a 2-year period. But at the end, again, we're training our students to really dive straight into a career in data science. And then last but not least, I want to talk to you about our new program, Computer Science and Software Engineering. We're launching this in fall 2022. So we are accepting applications right now for our first batch of students. So this master's was initially created in Switzerland by two world-leading software engineering professors who are working at Schaffhausen Institute of Technology. And it's really been aligned with graduate programs at universities like Carnegie Mellon and National University of Singapore. And this high standard set for the program has allowed the best students to really transfer there in the second year through pre-employment agreements with distinguished partners. So the program was launched by SIT in 2019, and it's already had, some really great success stories with many grads now working at, cybersecurity companies for tech giants like Google and Amazon, as well as Acronis. This is really a fast track to a successful career through the mandatory capstone project course. So just to give you a little bit of background about our connection with SIT. So we're partnering with them now to offer this program from fall 2022 on both campuses. So every student who's admitted to the program will be able to decide if they want to study here in Bremen, Germany at Jacobs, or if they want to make their base at Schaffhausen Institute of Technology. The program is going to allow for students to travel from both locations. Travel between the two locations is going to be required. A lot of collaboration between the two locations also going to be required. The cost of traveling between the two campuses is going to be already covered in the tuition and fees. So that's not something that students will have to worry about. For this upcoming academic year, thanks to the advanced technology of classrooms, as I mentioned before, you're going to feel like you're in the same room during classes. The program is, again, also going to include in-person activities. This is going to bring even more benefit to our students because through this program, students will actually be able to choose from 3 core subject areas. So it's going to be software engineering, cybersecurity, or artificial intelligence. They're going to have access to the European labor market thanks to the 18-month German residence after graduation, which I'll talk a little bit more about. There are also full tuition scholarships available for this program for students who meet one of the three following criteria. So that could be a winner of the STAR contest, which is a contest we host every year jointly with SIT. It's a programming contest, graduates of a top 25 university, and students who are interested in pursuing a research project after their studies. And basically what that means is students who know that they would be willing to commit to a research project after completing their graduate studies would need to include that interest in research and their willingness to do so in their motivation letter. And when that's being read by our faculty, we use that to figure out who we are going to nominate to continue on in the process to be eligible for a full tuition scholarship. So again, just to give you some insight into our target audience. So this program is a little bit more specific in our requirements, and that applicants are typically going to have a bachelor's in computer science, software engineering, information technology, or another related discipline. If you do not have a major or a degree in one of those areas, we will accept students who have at least 60 credits of a computer science related topic. So that can include math, programming, design, software, architecture. We are also very open to students who have relevant work or entrepreneurial experience, and students who are not fulfilling these requirements, we may admit them and then talk about how they can work towards fulfilling those requirements prior to starting the program. So as you can see, you have the program is pretty much quite clearly laid out with your core modules, your capstone project. Every student in the program is going to complete a capstone. And basically that starts from day 1 of the program. So students are going to be building a new product, starting a company, doing some sort of research from the very beginning. I include this slide in here just because I know this is a question that I get often, so I'd like to include this in here. We do have PhD programs here at Jacobs. Admission to PhD programs is quite selective. It's going to take typically between 3 to 4 years. There's 2 sorts of PhD programs here at Jacobs. One is a funded research-oriented program that's offered in collaboration with the University of Bremen, and that's through BIGS, which is the Bremen International School of Social Sciences. The other one is we offer PhD programs in various different fields. You can find vacant positions posted on our website. And then students who have individual research projects and funding from an external organization are also welcome to reach out to us and talk about, maybe working with one of our professors if that's something that is of interest. And then if the students have any more specific questions about PhD programs, I refer them to my colleague, Dr. Svenja Frischholz, because she's great at answering any of those questions and kind of helping guide students through the PhD application process. Just to give you a little bit more information about Jacobs, as a small campus, we are able to provide, again, as I mentioned before, a lot of one-to-one support and attention to our students. And that includes our career services office. So from the day you step foot on campus, you have an office, a great team here who's all about helping students from beginning to the end when it comes to the job search, career internship search. And that means they'll help you from the beginning with finding a internship. They'll help you with creating a CV. There's really, all throughout the process, they're there to help you. Every year, they also work to organize a career fair here on campus. This is just give you a selection of companies that attend every year. Something that I always like to highlight when I'm giving presentations to prospective students is that one thing I really love about our career services office is that they will actually work with companies and our alumni to reach out to them and say, would you be interested in coming and representing your company at our fair? So more often than not, we have many alumni who are coming back, which I think is great for the career fair because it makes it a little less stressful for students that are hoping to begin their job search. And I think that's one of the things that I really like about our offerings here. And then working in Germany after graduation. So as a graduate of a German university, students can apply for a residence permit for a job search of up to 18 months while they're looking for work. And basically this additional time is here to help students, get the opportunity to look for a job here in Germany. So once students have found a job, you can fairly easily get an appointment at the foreigner's office and then change the status of your residence permit from I'm looking for a job to I now have a job. You don't have to leave the country and apply for a new visa first. So that's something that I really like to highlight for students as you're thinking about next steps. And then just very quickly, just to talk a bit about our alumni and just to give you some stats. So 71% of our alumni will find their first job in Europe, 44% in Germany. 1 of 3 will send out 3 applications or less before they got their first job. And 90% will find their first job within 1 year. And about half of our students will get their first job within 3 months after graduation. So as I've said, we have a great career services department here supporting all of our students, a great network. We are a very close-knit community. And I think that really does make a difference when students start their job search. And I'm going to go through the application requirements just because I think that it might be helpful. And then if there are any questions after this, I will talk a little bit about. I'm happy to answer those. So first, you will have to submit a motivation letter where you'll just have to explain why you want to study at Jacobs, why you want to study at your particular program, and what makes you an exceptional candidate. This is helpful for our faculty in a number of ways. And I want to really highlight for those of you who are thinking, maybe I want to apply to a program where I don't have a related degree, but I've gotten some work experience. I've done some external courses. I've done, maybe that is online, maybe elsewhere. I've spent some time doing things where I think it's given me some insight into this particular career and or area of study. And the motivation letter would be where you would do that. We ask students to limit it to 1 page, but if you need more than 1 page, we completely understand. Next would be your CV. So we really want students to use their CV to describe their academic and professional information, extracurriculars, and voluntary activities. This would also be where if you were, for example, applying to a program like data engineering and you had, learned programming languages, whether that was on your own time independently or through a course, you would want to make sure to note that there because that's something that our faculty are going to be looking for when they're assessing your application. And then we ask students to also submit a scanned copy of their bachelor's degree and transcript. We know that some students will be applying without having graduated first, so we ask you to just upload the most recent version of your transcript. If you're a current student, we would ask for an enrollment certificate, which is just a letter from your institution that explains that you are currently enrolled and then when they expect you to graduate and with what degree they expect you to graduate. If any of your documents aren't written in English or German, we'd ask you to submit an official translation, which means that it would need to be by an actual translator. We cannot accept a translation that's from you. If your transcript contains any information about the grading system and or GPA calculations, please make sure you include all pages so that our faculty can look at that when they are assessing your application. We do ask for 2 letters of recommendation. And basically, we use these letters to really confirm your skills. And then sometimes I think recommenders can really help to give us an insight into, not only what we weren't able to see there on paper, give us more insight into, your creativity, how well you work with others, your knowledge, your skills in this area, why they feel that you might be suitable for the course that you're studying for. This is optional for our applicants applying to computer science and software engineering. However, if you are somebody who thinks that you might be a good candidate for the full tuition scholarship, I would encourage you to submit those for the computer science and software engineering program. Something to note is to please make sure that all letters of recommendation are hand signed. So typically what that means is students will have a letter, their recommender will print it, sign it, scan the copy, and send it to them. If for whatever reason your recommender is unable or unwilling to give you a copy of the letter, we would ask you to please provide them with our graduate admissions email address, which is on our website, and then they can send the letter directly to us. And then we have our English language proficiency. So if you are applying for the supply chain management program, you must submit the results of an English language proficiency test. We accept the TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. For applicants applying to computer science and software engineering, data engineering, or data science for society and business, we will accept a letter from your undergraduate institution that confirms that all classes were taught in English. We will also accept an English language proficiency test. Please make sure that your results are not expired because they do expire within 2 years. After 2 years, I'm sorry. If you are a student who is unable to travel to a testing center for the IELTS or the TOEFL, I would encourage you to consider taking the Duolingo test. You can take it online. It's not a lot of time, and you can have your results sent to us within 2 days after you've taken the test. So that is an option to consider. To give you an idea of how everything kind of flows through the process, you're going to apply through our application portal. We ask you if you need a visa to apply by June 1st. If you don't need a visa, apply by July 15th. Within 2 to 4 weeks, we hope to get you to your decision. When you receive your decision, you're also going to receive an academic achievement scholarship offer. If you were eligible for a scholarship offer, you'll receive it at that time. We ask everybody who is actually going to be joining us and has been admitted to send their hard copies of their transcript and bachelor's degree certificate because we will need to see those. However, most of our students will arrive in Germany in the last week of August and come by our office and show us their documents. So please, if you're thinking, about the hassle or the trouble it might cause you to have to send your documents, do not worry about that. Many of our students will bring them with us when they travel here. In order to hold your place at the university, you will need to pay a $500 enrollment deposit. You'll arrive the last week of August for orientation week, or O week as the students call it, and then you'll start your studies on September 1st. There is no application fee to apply. Just some quick tips. Avoid any generic letters of motivation. We really want to know why you've chosen to study at Jacobs. We are really fortunate to have very, very, very detailed website written by our amazing faculty that really goes into what our programs offer. So if you're unsure as you start to write your motivation letter, I would encourage you to first start by looking at the website for your intended program and to think a bit about why do you want to study this program? What do you think makes that program unique? We will accept letters of recommendation from, your supervisors, bosses, former professors, current professors. We're happy to do so. We find that the best letters of recommendation typically do come from professors. However, we know that some people will be a couple years out of university, and maybe a letter from your former professor isn't going to give you as much, give us as much information about you as a letter that's going to be coming directly from someone who knows you today and has maybe known you for a couple of years and seen the quality of your work. And then last but not least is we discourage students from submitting more documents than are requested. I understand that students want to send a lot of information, but that means that, typically you have to sit there and upload all those documents as well. If you can just provide us with what we're looking for, usually that is more than enough information for our faculty to make a decision about your application. As we work through the application, I think it is important for students to know that we cannot begin to look at your application until it's been completed. Our reviewers are admissions counselors and faculty. what we're going to be looking for: the strength of your grades, the rigor of your coursework, your personal statement, your motivation letter, any extracurricular activities, performance on standardized tests. Standardized tests are not required, but if you have taken a standardized test and you want to apply and you want to share those results with us, you're more than welcome to do so, as well as, any other evidence of achievement. Just to give you a short anecdote, we recently had a full tuition scholarship, one for all of our graduate programs. So we selected one student, and the one student that we did select, we were really impressed by not only the strength of their grades, the strength of their letters of recommendation, the community service work that they've done, like really the presence that they had on their university campus, as well as additional coursework that they've done in addition to their studies, where they really focused on gaining more skills and really refining their passion so that they could do more with the degree that they're currently pursuing. And this was all something that the student was able to really outline and explain for us quite clearly through their motivation letter as well as their CV. And then because I know that this definitely matters as you're looking at university programs, I want to briefly talk about our cost of attendance. So tuition for all of our programs is 20,000 euros per year. Each year there is a university fee of 120 euros. The semester ticket is 480 euros for the year, and that allows our students to travel anywhere on German public transport at no additional cost. And then there is a 500 euro enrollment deposit. Our accommodations, I'm sorry, I can see a mistake. So our accommodations are now actually 4,000 euros for 9 months. So that means between September to May, our students have accommodations that are subsidized by the university. Every student has to pay a fee for their residence permit, which is 100 euros when you arrive. And then we have health insurance that is typically 1,260 euros per year. However, that could be slightly more depending on your age or any other situation that you might experience. If that's something that is an area of concern for you, we can always help to put you in touch with the health insurance companies that are here on campus, and they can actually provide you with a quote so you would know exactly how much you'd be expected to pay. Once you have been admitted, you will receive your letter that says you've been admitted, and then any information about academic achievement scholarship amounts. Scholarships can come up to 12,000 euros, and the minimum amount, if you are awarded a scholarship, would be 4,000. Once you have submitted your enrollment confirmation form, which you tell us you are definitely going to be attending Jacobs University, and then you pay your 500 euro deposit, you also get a visa application letter that you could then use to go to your nearest German consulate or embassy to begin the process so that you can join us here in the fall. Along with your student financial offer, which is going to include your scholarship, every student is awarded a tuition deferral offer. So basically what that means is we work with a partner called Brain Capital, and they will defer your tuition fees for a period of time while you are studying. And you can decide whether you want to take advantage of this opportunity. So it's an offer, so you can choose to turn it down. So let's say, for example, tuition is 20,000 euros per year. You receive a scholarship of 12,000 euros per year, leaving you with 8,000 euros to pay each year. Let's say Brain Capital offers you a tuition deferral of 6,000 euros per year. If you chose to accept that, you would sign a contract with them where you would agree, after I complete my degree, for this much period of time, once I reach this minimum income threshold, I will pay X percentage of my salary to Brain Capital for this period. Payment plans are quite flexible. And what that means is that, let's say a student decides that they want to enroll in a PhD program. Let's just say, maybe life takes you in many different directions. Maybe you decide that you want to do some volunteer work for a year or two after you graduate. And during that time, you don't have an income. Your tuition deferral repayments would actually be deferred during that time. So you would not have to pay them. This is not a loan. There is no interest. There are really no hidden fees at all. I promise. The contract is very easy to understand, very clearly laid out. So if you do choose to take advantage of the tuition deferral offer, you have all the information right there in front of you, and you can decide whether you want to take it or not. The QR code in the right-hand corner will actually take you to a video that we worked with Brain Capital to create. So if I'm just saying a lot of words and you're not sure what it all means, you can watch the video, and it's very, very clearly laid out exactly what we mean by a tuition deferral, how the repayment works, and everything in between. And then just to give you an idea of what our student accommodations look like, this is pretty much them. Our students live in Galileo, which is a residence here in Bremen, closer to the city center. So our graduate students are about a 20-minute tram ride from us. It works out really well because all of our students have that semester ticket, so they can take public transport on their own. At no additional cost. And also it's a great space to live in where you can see students from some of our neighboring universities. Everything is furnished. So you move in, you bring your clothes, and you have a great place to stay. All utilities are included, and that even includes Wi-Fi. Every kitchen has everything that you need. So you just come and you have a great place to stay for 9 months. And I know some students will ask, what is it? This 9 months, but it works out perfectly because during the summer, if you decide you want to stay in Bremen and work and complete an internship or something like that, that's great. But there are so many opportunities available to our students, and so many of our students are traveling to other cities in Germany for internship opportunities, as well as, in general, going to other locations here in Europe. And then some of our students are even returning closer to home. And so this flexibility of living in these accommodations for 9 months, it really gives you a lot of space to decide, what do I want to do over the summer? And then that was pretty much the end of the presentation. I'm happy to take any questions. If you don't have a question right now and you want to reach out to me later about some specific situation or question, please do feel free. That's my email address here on the screen. And then the QR code in the right-hand corner will actually take you directly to our application portal. Thank you very much for having me today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Erin, for your presentation and all the useful information that you shared. It was very useful for me as well to know about all the possibilities Jacobs offers. There is one question that I would like to ask you to answer. Do you require GMAT or GRE for your master's, and how important it could be in case a student has those exams?
Great question. So we do not require the GRE or the GMAT. What I find is a lot of students will take one of the two exams because somewhere they're applying that may be something that's actually required. And so when they have those results, we tell them to send them to us. What I will say is, I think I mentioned this a bit before, is, things like quantitative skills, reasoning, problem solving, those are some of the things that we can kind of glean from those tests. We know those tests aren't everything, but those are some of the areas that those tests focus on. So when students have scores that they feel are an accurate representation of their skills, I say, please send them. Our faculty are familiar with these tests. They know what they are, and they'll be able to use that as they work to assess your application. But at no point would I tell a student who doesn't already have those scores, like, oh, you should definitely take them because, it's going to make you stand out against another candidate, because I would not say that that is necessarily the truth at all. But I would say if you already have those scores, especially for some of our students, for example, who are maybe applying for, data engineering, data science for society and business, or even supply chain management, where there is a really clear connection to some of the skills that are outlined in those tests, I would say definitely, please, send us the scores. We'd be more than happy to use them when we're assessing your application.
Okay, thank you. And what about GPA? I mean, is there a recommendable GPA for your master's, or is there a limit that you consider good enough for your scholarships?
Okay, that's a great question. In the vein of full transparency, when we are awarding academic achievement scholarships, our faculty are looking at your GPA for your undergraduate degree. So when it comes to scholarships, you really would need to have to be, a B student or above to qualify for a scholarship. That doesn't mean that if you are, anything under a B student, you wouldn't qualify for admission. And what I mean by that is that we are taking a holistic approach to the application process. And we know that sometimes, there's a lot that can be going on while you're completing a degree. However, you kind of find your footing at some point, whether that's during your studies or after, and you have a path where you say, this is what I know I want to do. And when students are in situations like those, I encourage them to explain, like, if there is something in your academic record that, is really, that it's not an accurate representation of the student that you are, I would encourage you to really use your motivation letter to explain that. And then tell us about what you've done since then, because we fully expect that between the time that you graduated from your program and maybe you worked a couple of years, that you probably matured. There's many different things that have happened and changed in your life. And we would want to know about, kind of what happened previously and kind of what you've been doing to prepare yourself for the next step in your educational journey, because we know that not everybody is going to be that standout star in their undergraduate degree. But we also know that this is a great opportunity as a master's student to really kind of decide where you're going to go from now in your career. So really, please use that motivation letter to tell us, because our faculty are really keen to know that as they're assessing your application.
Yeah, and the motivation letter is a great opportunity to present yourself and to show up, to explain further your achievements, your future goals, professional goals, and everything that could be interesting for the commission, because if there is no interview, motivation letter is very important, could be crucial and could help our students to stand out and to get a better financial offer. Well, Erin, that is everything that I wanted to ask. If there is nothing that you would like to add, then we will encourage our students to send their applications and to count on our help free of charge, because Via Academica is your partner university, and we will assess them in every single step of their application.
Great. Thank you so much for your time and have a great evening.
You too. Bye bye. Hvala vam puno na pažnji. Ovo je bila Erin sa Univerziteta Jacobs. Uglavnom, ukoliko ste zainteresovani za aplikacije, odnosno za njihove programe, možete da nam se javite i da vam pomognemo u tome. Možete nam se javiti preko maila i preko naših društvenih mreža. Uglavnom, tu smo i moje koleginice i ja da vam pomognemo. Toliko za ovu prezentaciju, odnosno za ovaj webinar. Čućemo se i videti nekom narednom prilikom. Veliki pozdrav od Via